at a couple of very strong Division II teams.
Well, Frank, this is about as close to Division I as you're going to find, and not being Division I. Both Eckerd College and University of Tampa, very good ball clubs. We expect a good game.
Tampa is ranked 7th in the nation among Division II schools. That's how good they are. And tonight's game could set up second place in the Sunshine State Conference standings.
Well, they're one win away from each other in the standings. It's an important game. This is the third game of a 4-game series that they do play throughout the year with them, and they played very close the last 2 games, tight games, and there's no reason to expect anything different tonight.
They have split those last 2 games, so this at the moment will be the rubber game with 1 more to follow. And now to find out more about the Eckerd College Tritons, Chris Welch will chat with their head coach, John Mayotte. 11-year head coach John Mayotte of the Eckerd Tritons. John, you're playing at home tonight, hosting University of Tampa. Should be a pretty good game with you guys. You've played twice in the past. You've split with them. This is a rubber game. How do you look at it?
Well, all of our conference games are real struggles, but Florida Southern and Tampa usually dominate, and of course ourselves has to be included in the trio that will be there at the end of the year. So we really enjoy the competitiveness of this situation.
You told me in the most recent poll that you've seen, you're ranked 17th in the country. University of Tampa now ranked 7th, but that was before you began to really play good ball. What have you done lately offensively to help your club get on the roll?
Well, I don't think our offensive performance has been the real trademark of this team, even during a hot streak, Chris. I think our pitching staff has carried us. We have a very low ERA, and if anything, we've struggled with getting the key hit in the clutch situation.
Thank you, Coach Mayotte. And now to Frank with the University of Tampa coach.
Okay, Chris, and with me right now, Kenny Dominguez, the head coach of the University of Tampa baseball team. And Kenny, your first 3 years at Tampa, 2 College World Series. Now in your 4th year, a chance to go again.
Yeah, we definitely have a chance to go back again for the 3rd time. The first 2 times, I think a lot of credit to the kids and the job that they did for the first couple of years. You know, we were kind of a doormat of the conference for a few years, and now we're becoming a power, and it's a nice feeling.
It is a much better feeling to be on top looking down than on the bottom looking up there.
That's for sure. And this game tonight and the game Sunday with Eckerd are 2 big ball games because they're 1 game behind us in 2nd place, and it's a big game for us. We have to win tonight to stay on top.
Well, Ken, with the proximity of the 2 teams, 2 schools, Tampa and Eckerd, I'm sure that adds to the rivalry as well.
Yes, it does. I mean, we've always had a good, healthy rivalry with Eckerd. They've got a good ball club. We've got a good ball club, and it's always dogfights every time we play each other.
University of Tampa ranks 7th in the nation among Group 2 schools. Eckerd College also in the top 20. It should be a great ball game, and I'll be back with the starting lineups right after this timeout on Sports Channel Florida.
Chocolate is scrumptious when it crunches. That's why I love Nestle Crunch. Milk chocolate, that's creamy. Blending crispy, so dreamy. Gotta have it, it's so scrumptious. Love that chocolate when it crunches. Chocolate is scrumptious when it crunches. That's why I love Nestle Crunch.
As Florida grows, so do the needs of the emotionally disturbed. At the University of South Florida, the Florida Mental Health Institute develops better ways to help the mentally ill. Its programs teach how to counsel troubled families, give the old zest for life, and the young the joys of childhood. The Florida Mental Health Institute at the University of South Florida makes opportunity a reality.
Hi, we're back live at Al Lang Stadium here in St. Petersburg, Florida. 70 degrees with the wind out of the north, 10 to 15 miles per hour, and the humidity making it a very pleasant evening at 61%. The wind that has been so brisk, if I use that word correctly, and use that word very lightly, I guess, the winds which have been blowing pretty hard over here in the west coast of Florida have died down somewhat tonight. The lights, of course, are on, although the sun is still shining. We get the final rays of the setting sun as it goes down over the Gulf of Mexico. And let's take a look right now at the starting lineup for the Spartans of the University of Tampa. They're the visiting team tonight, and leading off playing center field is Jerry Cruzacanis. Fred Lanjotti is the catcher and number 2 hitter. Tino Martinez, one of the top college players, if not the top college player in the country, at first base, hitting 3rd. Pardon me. Terry Rupp is the designated hitter and cleanup batter. Joey Wardlow will be at second base. The third baseman, Paul Russo. Playing left field, Steve Malden. Ricky Hart will be in right field, and Rene Martinez, the elder of the two Martinez brothers, will be at shortstop. So you got the brothers Tino and Rene Martinez in the same batting order, same lineup for the University of Tampa Spartans. The starting pitcher for Eckerd College, Terry Granches. A record of 6 wins, 1 loss, an earned run average of 3.69, and ready to talk to you about the pitcher and lend his own comments to tonight's telecast from Al Lang Stadium, Chris Wells. Chris, good to see you back again, buddy.
Thank you, Frank. Good to be here. Good to see a Sunshine State Conference game. This is a game that means something, and these guys are out to play. Terry Granges, pretty good-looking right-handed pitcher. He pitched very fine against Tampa before. Tampa and Eckerd, as you said, have split. Both the games, one of them going 6-0 in favor of Tampa and the other 4-1 in favor of Eckerd.
Joe Bolak in left field for Eckerd. Junior Ortiz in center, Scott Perry in right. The third baseman, Bill Norris, Tim McDonald at shortstop, Peter Kubiak at second, Chris Carter at first, and the catcher, Mark Brown. And we're set to go as Ganches looks down, gets a sign from Brown, and the first pitch of the game. Thrown low and outside, and we're underway. 2 balls and no strikes. They set the defense just a shade to the right side in center field. Infield straight up the middle, and the ball is pulled in the air to right. It's going to drop in for a base hit. Scott Perry will play the ball on a bounce and wing it back in, and Jerry Cruzacanis has a leadoff single. Don't ask me to spell any of these names, Chris. I know you like to spring that on me. I've got everybody spelled in just the way I'm going to pronounce it, see.
The phonetic spelling.
The phonetic spelling, and I hope that I get by with that even. Here is Fred Lanjotti, the catcher, a .385 hitter. By the way, Cruzacanis was batting .313 and added to that with his base hit. Breaking pitch in the dirt. Nice play. Didn't see where it was, but Mark Brown had the ball right at his feet. The base runner, Cruzacanis, saw the ball right at Brown's feet and did not try to advance.
Frank, tonight you'll see 2 different types of offenses here between Eckerd and Tampa. Tampa, of course, with the big guy in their lineup, Tino Martinez. He's the wheel that makes the whole machine run for the Tampa Spartans. You don't think that you'll see too many sacrifice bunts or guys trying to steal ahead of him. The idea is to get him to the plate with a man on base.
Pitch out. Runner was not going. Cruzacanis has stolen 21 bases, caught only 3 times this year. Spartans a running ball club, 47 out of 60. There he goes. Now the throw down to second. Gets down 1 hop, not nearly in time. And a stolen base, his 25th. Make that his 22nd and his 25th attempt for Cruzacanis.
Well, we've said it many times in the past that the base runners steal on the pitcher, and that's so. Nick Grasso, the Eckerd assistant coach, told me that Mark Brown, the catcher for Eckerd, has a good release and a good throw to second base, although that one was a 1-hopper. Here we see it's a straight steal all the way. Doesn't look back. Get that man in scoring position.
Started to slide awfully early. Now a fastball is thrown for a strike. And the count is 3-1. He picked a good pitch to run on there, too, that breaking pitch. You saw Brown had to backhand the ball almost out of the dirt. Now 3-1, breaking ball is high, ball 4. And Lanjotti draws a walk, and Tampa's Spartans have runners at first and second and early threaten the ball game. And here comes Tino Martinez. Tino Martinez is batting .469, 18 home runs, 53 runs batted in. Just, well, I don't know. There just probably aren't enough adjectives to lay down on this young man, Chris. He is just an outstanding player, and everybody who's seen him play says that if there's a better player in the college ranks anywhere in the country, they've got to be see him to believe it.
You know, in addition to his physical prowess on the field, Frank, is that he's able to keep everything in the proper mental perspective, and that's one reason why he has had such a good season this year. He's filled up all to everyone's expectations so far, hitting home runs and driving in runs, but he's kept everything in the right perspective, and he's just a nice, likable guy. You can hardly tell him from the second-string third baseman.
Except when you look at the averages.
Except when he plays.
When he plays, yeah. I know what you mean. And I think that is a very high accolade to the young man as well. So, Granches, who gave up a leadoff single to Chris Akanis, then walked Langiotti, has himself in a jam, and the 2-1 pitch. He just painted the black on the inside corner.
You can't afford to make too many mistakes to Tino Martinez, Frank, and Coach John Mayotte of the Eckerd Tritons told me before the game, I said, how are you going to pitch this guy? He's hitting .469. They said, very carefully. We're going to pitch around him everywhere we can.
He bounces that one foul off the right side.
In a close game, we're going to pitch around him with nobody on base, even if it's just a couple of run game. We're really going to, he told me, Frank, that I would rather walk Tino Martinez in a tight game with nobody on it to start the inning than to let him hit.
Well, he goes back to the old Marsh Joe McCarthy theory. The late Joe McCarthy, manager for the Yankees for so many years. Don't let the hot man beat you. Fastball, strike three, caught him looking. And the Spartan fans disagree with the plate umpire, as Tino Martinez is called out on strikes. Only the 7th time he has struck out all year long. 7 strikeouts in 129 at-bats. That pitch tails back a little, doesn't it, Chris?
A tailing back fastball, that's about the only place that you can pitch Tino Martinez and have him fooled like that.
Check swing foul now to the seats off the bat of Terry Rupp. I saw this young man play with a much bigger ball this past winter. He was the center on the Tampa Spartans basketball team, and a good one. He's hitting .286, no home runs, 10 RBIs, and playing tonight as the designated hitter. 2 on, 1 away. Breaking ball. He went around. Strike 2.
You'll see Granches throw 3 different pitches out there. He throws the fastball, number 1. His second pitch is a split finger forkball, and his third pitch is a slider, and that was a slider right there.
He's the most consistent pitcher for the Tritons. Comes in high. He has beaten, as we look at the base runners out there at second base, Jerry Crucicanis and Fred Langiotti at first base. Granches has beaten Stetson, Southeast Missouri, North Alabama, Tampa, and St. Leo. 2 balls and 2 strikes. I think that forkball has really made him a much, much better pitcher.
If you can throw that consistently, or even not so consistently, but get it over the plate every once in a while, it sets your fastball up much better, and if you can pick the corners with that, you're really off.
Runners go on a check swing foul. That get his hand as well? No, just the bat. Got his finger also, but it got the bat first. And Rupp will... Let's take another look at it, first of all.
I don't know if you're going to be able to see it from this angle, but if it looks like it hit on the end of the bat and maybe got his fingers. If the ball hits your fingers while you're grabbing around the bat, that's a foul ball. Now, if it hits your wrist, or, of course, up the arm, then you're entitled to first base. But when your hand is on the bat like that, that's considered part of the bat.
So it is a foul ball, and that one hurt. It stung a bit. Rupp will take a couple of practice swings. Granches trying to work out of a jam here in the top of the first. Curveball is fouled away. He hung that one and got by with it. They changed the date of this ball game from the original schedule, and both coaches were afraid that might have cut down some on the crowd tonight, or on the attendance. I use the word crowd very advisedly. Runners go, and it's fouled straight back. So with 1 out, and a count of 2 balls and 2 strikes. They're doing a lot of running on the base paths.
Kenny Dominguez, like many college coaches, want to get the first few runs on the board and put the pressure on the other team. Granches, on the other hand, the word on him is to get him early, like many pitchers. Once he finds himself in the groove, especially with that split finger, he's tough to get a hold of.
Well, he's had trouble here in the inning. And that's a ball throw down to third. They got him easily. There was no contest right there as Chris Eckerd is thrown out easily by Mark Brown. Now there, I've got to feel that the hit and run is still on, and he took the pitch. And the runner at third base is out by the proverbial country mile. I've got to feel, Chris, that was, he had to swing at that pitch. Now back with a breaking ball, strike three, and Granges pitches himself out of a tough jam here in the first inning. No runs, a base hit, one man left on after one half inning. Tampa nothing, and Eckerd coming to bat on Sports Channel Florida. Baseball, the Florida Gators. And we've got the ball with 15 live games coming up on Sports Channel Florida. If you're a Gator fan, Sports Channel Florida has your ticket to University of Florida sports action. In a few weeks, the Orange and Blue Gator Inter-Squad Spring Football game. And in the fall, 11 tape-delayed regular season games. Sports Channel Florida's got them, plus University of Florida gymnastics, tennis, swimming, track, and field. Sports Channel Florida, we've got the ball, Gator fans.
When friends don't stop friends from drinking and driving. Friends die from drinking and driving. Friends die from drinking and driving can kill a friendship.
We go to the bottom half of the first inning, and let's take a look at the batting order for the Tritons of Eckerd College. The leadoff hitter is shortstop Tim McDonald. Then Bill Norris, the third baseman, bats second. Junior Ortiz, the center fielder, will hit third. Scott Perry, the right fielder, bats cleanup. Joe Bolak, the left fielder, will bat fifth. Mark Brown, the catcher, in the number 6 slot. Chris Carter, the first baseman, bats seventh. Then Barney Earl, the designated hitter, and Peter Kubiak, the second baseman. And on the mound for the University of Tampa, Paul Myrock, and we'll take a look at him for you. And probably in slow motion. Looks like he can get that up there in pretty good fashion. He has a record of 6 wins. I'll make that 5-2 as I look at that graphic. 3.84 earned run average for Paul Myrock. Chris?
One thing that stands out about Paul Myrock, of course, is the number of strikeouts he has per innings pitched. He's got 59 strikeouts in just about 59 innings. Of course, 1 an inning. That's indicative of a power pitcher, usually. And Paul Myrock is. A stocky young man, throws the ball very hard. He's got a hard slider. And, you know, the key to him, of course, is control. He has 21 walks in those 59 innings. He can keep his walks down tonight. This is a big ballpark to work with. This is the kind of night he wants.
In left field, Steve Malden with Jerry Chrysocanis in center field and Ricky Hart in right. Around the infield, third to first, it's Paul Russo, Rini Martinez, Joey Wardlow, and Tito Martinez with Lanjotti catching. And we're ready to go to the bottom half of the first, no score. And the first pitch to Tim McDonald fouls straight back. .245 hitter, McDonald, 2 home runs, 13 RBIs. Strike called, and it's 0-2.
Myrock is what you call sneaky fast, Frank. He's got a nice, smooth delivery, comes over the top, pops the ball at the last second. He can sneak the ball right up on these guys.
This is his 10th start. He has 2 complete games, one of them a shutout. As Chris told you, 58 2/3 innings. He has given up 66 base hits. Bouncing ball past the pitcher. Good play to his right by Wardlow. Spins and throws him out. McDonald retired. That ball took the high bounce, and Wardlow was able to make the play on it. It's like this field. I tell you, if the field we're talking about over the University of South Florida the other night. If that field is hard around home plate, I imagine this one would be probably the same way. They've had no more or less rain over here than they have over there, have they?
Well, it hasn't rained in either place lately, Frank. And one thing I noticed about this while watching these guys take batting practice earlier, as we see a called strike, is that the guys who have the rubber cleats trying to take batting practice had a hard time digging their way into the batter's box. They had their friends with the steel cleats come in and do that. This is a very hard field tonight.
Norris, a .352 hitter, grounds one to second. And again, the play is made by Joey Wardlow, and 2 men are out here in the bottom half of the first. The batter will be Junior Ortiz. Getting back to Mirock for just a moment. With his 58 2/3 innings, 66 base hits, but a very decent earned run average of 3.84. I've said this before. Now, this is strictly my feeling, but in studying collegiate pitchers and their stats, if you find a college pitcher under 4 for an earned run average, that is, I think, very respectable. Now, Chris may or may not agree with me because being a pitcher himself, he has his own ideas on that.
Well, I believe as a college pitcher anymore with the technology of the bats and as good as the hitters are getting to be nowadays, that under 4 is a very good ERA.
So we'll put Mirock down as among the elite in that department with a .384.
You know, by giving up so many hits as he does, which frankly says 66 hits in 58 innings, more than 1 an inning, he's pitched out of trouble quite a bit, and that's also indicative of a very good pitcher.
He has not hurt himself really that much with base on balls. He's walked 21 men, and he has 59 strikeouts, a strikeout an inning. So as you said, he can rear back and throw it by some people. That's a fastball, and it is on the inside corner. Ball and a strike to Junior Ortiz. Ortiz, a .341 hitter, as you saw the figures flash up. And he doesn't mind pitching inside, evidently.
I think for folks who haven't seen Division II baseball yet and they're tuning in for the first time, Frank, they're going to be very impressed with the caliber of baseball played by these two teams tonight. As we said in our pregame interview, that this is really as close to Division I caliber of baseball as you're going to find on the college level without being in Division I. And these teams are only a couple players short of being very comparable with teams like Southern Cal or University of Miami. They're really right there with them.
This is Scott Perry, the right fielder, with 2 outs and a runner down at first base. Perry is hitting .323, a couple of homers, 28 RBIs. He looks at the fastball for a called strike. No score here in the bottom half of the first. Tampa threatened in the top half of the inning. But Grange's worked out of it. Just a lob toss over to first.
The runner on first, Junior Ortiz, is really Eckerd's best baseball player all around. He's got good foot speed. He'll steal bases on you. He'll move the ball. He'll take the extra base on the outfield. He's a good student of the game, and I'm sure he's measured all the outfielders' arms for Tampa. And also the move, the pickoff move of the Tampa pitcher, Myrock.
Over there again. Again, he is safe. Does not go, and the pitch high and away. I think it's quite a credit. Now we'll get into that in just a second. Right now, let's watch another pitch coming in here to Scott Perry. Ortiz down at first base. They shade Perry to the right side. Ortiz goes. The pitch is popped up. The shortstop, Rini Martinez. Now the left fielder, and it's Martinez driving the ball. The run's going to score. Throw to the plate. Will not be nearly in time, as it is cut off. That time, Rini Martinez just went too far back. I think that ball was high enough and deep enough that his left fielder, Steve Malden, could have handled it. Martinez, you saw, lean back, and in trying to make the catch, fell down. When he hit the deck, the ball popped loose. That'll be an error, and a run scores. Here it is again, Chris.
Here you say Rini Martinez going back. This is the outfielder's ball, if they can get to it at all. There ought to be some communication, verbal communication out there as to you take it or you've got the room. Apparently he was waiting for somebody to take it, and that didn't happen.
So a run comes across. It's an unearned run. There'll be no run batted in for Perry. The inning is alive, and Joe Bolak, the left fielder, will bat. And he takes a pitch away for a ball. Bolak, a .273 hitter, 8 home runs, 29 RBIs. So Eckerd breaks on top with an unearned run, 1-0. That'll even the count, a ball and a strike.
Give credit to Scott Perry on that play, Frank. After hitting the pop-up, he ran that ball out all the way, and he's on second base in scoring position for Joe Bolak. That could be a big run if he ends up scoring in this inning.
All right, Chris. High fly ball, left center field. That one is deep. I don't think anybody up. Now the left fielder, and he misjudged it. It's over his head, bounces over the wall. A ground rule, 2-base hit, and a run batted in. So, just as you mentioned, Scott Perry's hustle has resulted in another run, Chris. As on the ground rule double, he would have been stopped at third base. As it is, he scores from second. That is, if he had not run that pop-up out and remained at first base, and here it is again. Right here, I think Malden misjudges the ball. Look at him.
Well, I don't even know if he sees the ball that well, Frank. Here at dusk, it's very difficult to see the ball if it gets above the light standards, which that ball hit so high was above the light standards. And the wind taking it farther and farther in the left field. Part misjudging, part not being able to see it quite right. Whatever.
Well, that's the first hit of the inning and the second run across the plate for the Tritons. And Mark Brown, the catcher, takes a swing and misses. So Mirock got the first 2 hitters on ground balls to his second baseman, Wardlow. Then he walked to Ortiz. Perry reaching when Rini Martinez dropped his pop-up for an error. And Bolak bouncing a double over the left field wall makes it 2-0. 1-strike pitch to Brown. In the dirt, nice block by Langiati. Out in right field, Ricky Hart is playing Mark Brown rather shallow. Center fielder Grosakanis and the left fielder Malden straight up. Infield plays him straight away with the third baseman in. 2 balls and a strike. That catches the outside corner. Both pitchers in this first inning, Mirock here for Tampa, and before him Granges for Eckerd College, have been getting pitches right on the black, as they call it, right on the edge of the plate. Count of 2-2, third baseman Russo backs off, and he struck him out to retire the side, but not before 2 unearned run score on 1 base hit, 1 error, and 1 man left on. After 1 inning, it's Eckerd 2, Tampa nothing on Sports Channel Florida.
I like to think that I speak for all women who have had breast cancer when I say that I'm as good as before. I can still swing a tennis racket, I can still sing and dance, and I can still have children. And to Andy, our marriage is just as much of a love affair as ever. I pray that every woman who sees this message gets a checkup. Life is worth it.
I will impart a knowledge of the art to my own children and those of my teachers, and to disciples bound by a stipulation and oath according to the law of medicine.
I will follow that system of regiment which, according to my ability and judgment, I consider for the benefit of the sick.
Into whatever houses I enter, I'll go into them for the benefit of the sick.
The College of Medicine at the University of South Florida makes opportunity a reality.
All right, we'll go to the second inning, and let's watch Rini Martinez again on that pop fly ball, which right now is the key play in the ball game, Chris.
Again, thinking about the time of evening that we're at right now, Frank, I think Rini Martinez may have just not seen that ball that well. He went back like he had it all the way.
Now there's Malden, the left fielder, for the double that bounced over his head and bounced over the wall. Either he didn't see it or he misjudged it. Fly ball well hit center field on the run and running it down. Junior Ortiz could not catch the ball. He ran it down, got to it, but could not make the play on it. So Joey Wardlow, leading out the second inning, is at second base as the Tampa Spartans try to come back against Terry Granches.
I'm not real sure how they scored that play, Frank. I assume that was an error. He had the ball in his glove.
Yeah, it has been put up as an error now. Well, he ran it down, then just couldn't hang on to it.
He did everything but finish the play off.
Yep. Paul Russo looks at a strike. Russo, a .320 hitter, 5 home runs, 24 RBIs. And the count will go 1-1. The Spartans as a team have a batting average of .318. Very good team batting average. That ball well hit to right field. That may be over the head of Scott Perry, and it is off his glove. He picks it up now, throws back in. There will be a play at the plate, but not nearly in time. So Joey Wardlow comes in to score from second base as Paul Russo drives one really over the head of Scott Perry. Perry going back really had a play on that ball, but after a long run could not make the play. It'll go as a two-base hit and a run batted in. Here he goes again.
Well, all these guys are close to making these catches, Frank, but we haven't seen anybody pull them off yet. That ball is off his glove. It's certainly catchable, but I don't think it can be charged as an error.
Well, I've had a lot of pitchers tell me anytime a guy gets his glove on, he ought to catch it. So it's scored as a two-base hit for Russo and a run batted in. So the Tampa Spartans have come right back. And this ball driven into right field. That's in for the base hit. Malden keeps his hitting streak going, and more important, ties the ball game up 2-2. Steve Malden with a base hit there, driving in Russo from second base, has now hit in his 15th consecutive game.
Here the Tritons beginning to go the other way against Mr. Granges. 2 balls now hit with authority out to right field. This is a very nice piece of hitting by Steve Malden. Now you know why he's had a hit in the last 15 games. Anytime you can spray the ball around like that, you keep the defense on their toes. They can't play you a certain way. No shifts will be made on you, and your chances of getting hits are much better.
Prior to that at bat, a moment ago, Russo was hitting .333, and Malden was hitting .333. That RBI is his 30th of the year. And it ties the ball game up as Ricky Hart, having fouled a pitch off. No balls and 1 strike. Looks like he went fishing that time, and the count will be 0-2.
That's that good split finger forkball by Terry Granges. If he can keep that pitch working for him down the strike zone, you see a lot of ground balls and a lot of swings like that by the Spartan hitters.
Runner going, throw down to second base, and he slides in ahead of the one bounce throw by the catcher, Mark Brown. Stolen base for Malden.
Now batting the shortstop, number 4.
Well, it was a low fastball, a call strike 3, a poor throw by the catcher, Mark Brown, another one hopper down to second base. I'm surprised to see him run on an 0-2 count like that. Usually you'll see a fastball wasted up and in, a tough pitch to run on.
Strike called on Rini Martinez. Rini comes in batting 193. His younger brother Tito, that's not a foul, it just gets away from Brown, but he runs it down, and the runner Malden does not try to advance to third. Rini Martinez, a 193 hitter, while his younger brother Tito hitting 469. Ball game is tied up, and there's a mark of a good ball club too, Chris Welch. The Tampa Spartans, after seeing Eckerd score 2 unearned runs, come right back with 2 of their own to tie it up.
You change the energy of the game when you can come right back, put another crooked number on the board. You get Big Mo, as we call it, momentum working in your favor, and that's really going to help your club.
Bouncer right back to the pitcher, and they've got the lead runner Malden in no man's land, and the throw down to third base, and he escapes the trap, and that's got to be an error on Bill Norris, I would have to think. There, they got him dead to rights out there in no man's land. He made the mistake of breaking off second with the ball hit right back to the pitcher. The pitcher gets the rundown started.
Granges does the right thing. He feeds the ball off to the shortstop right away to get the rundown going. All they've got to do here is play pitch and catch.
Well, we'll look at it from another angle.
It doesn't look any better from that angle.
No, it doesn't. They have not charged an error.
Well, there has to be an error somewhere on that play.
I would have to think so.
They allowed the man to reach first base on the ground ball to the pitcher.
Well, we'll call that a fielder's choice, but the runner from second should not have gotten to third. So, well, there's no error. Breaking ball on the inside corner to Jerry Crucicanis. He had a single and stole a base in the first inning. Then I think on a missed hit and run sign, he was thrown out at third. I think I've got to feel Terry Rupp missed a hit and run sign with runners first and second. They both went.
They both did go, Frank, but it was a 2-2 count at the time, and it would kind of surprise me if it were a hit and run, unless it was a hit and run, thinking that Kenny Dominguez, the Tampa coach, was pretty confident that Terry Granches was going to throw a strike on that pitch.
Well, he threw the pitch high and inside. It was taken, and as a result, Crucicanis was thrown out very easily at third base. That's a big play. This ball off the end of the bat. Good play by the third baseman. And now they got to play at the plate, and coming on home with it to complete the double play. I am not sure I can believe what I'm seeing right here, and we'll come back and take another look at it to see if we all believe it. Right now, after 1.5, the score, Tampa 2, Eckerd 2 on Sports Channel Florida. Baseball, the Miami Hurricanes. We've got the ball with 15 live games coming up on Sports Channel Florida. Hey, any Ron Fraser team will be right up there. If you're watching Sports Channel Florida, you're watching the Hurricanes channel, the same channel that's bringing you 15 live U of M basketball games this season. See it all, Hurricane baseball, basketball, tennis, and golf, right here on Sports Channel Florida. We've got the ball, Hurricane fans.
In 1950, the average person spent $78 a year for medical care. In 1980, health care cost $1,000 more a year. Today, the College of Public Health at the University of South Florida is working with doctors and hospitals to put the lid on rising health care costs. The College of Public Health at the University of South Florida makes opportunity a reality.
Well, let's take a look at that last play and see if we can sort out of this one, as you'll see the ball right off the end of the bat. And really, I think a very good play by the third baseman, Bill Norris. There he feeds the ball over to his second baseman for the force play at second base. The look to first, now he sees the runner coming home and throws the ball home in a one-handed tag, one-handed catch and tag by the catcher, Mark Brown. There's really a delayed start off third base. by Steve Malden. And that ended the inning, and I'm still, even now, you better save that one for me. I'll study that one next month. It goes as a 5-4-2 double play. I just like the way Mark Brown played that with a mask in one hand, mitt in the other, just reached out, take the throw, tag the man out, and nothing to it.
I haven't seen that too often.
No, I
he
haven't
was afraid the bat boy would take his face mask away.
I don't know. Chris Carter bounces one to shortstop, picked off by Rini Martinez, and he throws him out.
Good play by Tino Martinez on that time, saving that low throw in the dirt. Made it look routine.
Now batting the designated
Well, you said it was a good play. Let's look at it again. It's worth seeing.
Not only can this guy help the team at the plate, here he is scooping a ball out of the dirt. That ball's in no man's land. I'm not so sure he had his eye on that ball, but it found a big glove.
Well, they tell me he's, for all the accolades for his hitting, he's also an excellent first baseman. Here's Barney Earl, the DH. And the first pitch to him from Paul Mirock. Down low for a ball. We're tied at 2. He swings and misses a fastball, and the count will be 1-1. With 2 outs in the first inning, Eckerd scored a pair of runs. Ortiz walked. Perry reached when Rini Martinez dropped his pop-up for an error, and Joe Bolak drove in another run with a double. Hustling play by Perry, running out the pop-up and winding up at second base when the ball was dropped, and he was able to score on a ground rule double by Bolak. Here comes the 1-2 pitch. A little bend on that one and had it low, 2-2. Very vocal group here at Al Lang Stadium in St. Petersburg, right in this ball game. Foul ball will come back, and that should reach the crowd and will. Bang, there goes a seat. I'll tell you, Chris, I think the proximity of these 2 schools, the University of Tampa and Eckerd College, adds to the rivalry, the fact that they're both have excellent athletic programs.
Absolutely, Frank, especially baseball programs. Both of them have very powerful baseball programs. In fact, all of the teams in the Sunshine State Conference are very close in geographical distance, and that adds to the big rivalries of all of them. Even before the conference became of substance, they would play against each other, and you could note the rivalries amongst them.
Earl fouling off another pitch. Count stays 2-2 on Barney.
We've seen a number of different types of pitchers this year during our broadcast, Frank, but Myrock is one of the guys who can live pitching upstairs at times, as we've seen him throw his fastball by Barney Earl earlier in the count. He can get it up there and keep it up there, and he'll be successful.
And he fields his position very well as he takes care of that one hopper back to the mound. And there are 2 away to bring up Peter Kubiak, the second baseman.
Now batting the second baseman, number 7, Gene Kubiak.
We're tied 2-2 here in the bottom half of the second inning. Kubiak, a .259 hitter, 3 homers, 16 RBIs. Takes low for a ball. They play him straight up with the third baseman, Paul Russo, in on the grass.
We talk about a fine tradition of good baseball at Eckerd College, Franks, and we look since 1976. There have been 20 players signed up to the professional ranks from Eckerd, including guys like Joe LaFay and Steve Balboni.
Well, Balboni made quite a name for himself down in this part of the country, didn't he? And he made quite a name for himself in the Yankee farm system. And I was so happy I always liked Steve Balboni. He was a very quiet young man, still is. Very pleasant young man to be around. And I was really happy when he was traded out of the Yankees organization, got a chance to play in the major leagues, because he was shuttling back and forth between Yankee Stadium and the AAA club in Columbus, Ohio. Take a look down the Eckerd bench. Foul back out of play.
Balboni became a legend around here with, of course, the long home runs that he's known for in the big leagues. Of course, if you hit those in the college ranks on some of these college fields, they say the ball would go up and they would never find it coming down. I think he hit one or two off me like that.
3-2 pitch, popped up. That's sky high, but it's playable off the first baseline. Who's it going to be? Nobody. There's a ball that should be caught. Langiati and Tito Martinez sort of surrounded it, and the ball fell in between the two of them. I think that's an easier play, really, for the first baseman if he can get to it coming in.
I think Martinez has a beat on it all the way, and he's fooled a little bit by Langiati. Langiati went after it like he was going to take it. Again, we go back to the need for verbal communication out there. These guys have to take control. One guy's got to have it, and he's got to say, I want it right off the bat.
It's a no play, and now a shot back through the box, base hit. So how many times have you seen that happen? A guy hit a pop-up or a ball where he should be retired. They don't get him, and he comes right back with a base hit, and that's what happens here. That'll be hit number 2 for the Tritons. Scoreboard puts up number 3, but I don't know where the third hit would be.
You know, we can go back to that pop-up, Frank, and it is followed by a base hit, and it could be a very big one. But that should really go down as an error to somebody. That ball is a pop-up in the infield. It wouldn't take any more than an average play by either of those two guys to make it, and I think there should be an error awarded somewhere along the line.
I agree.
Who would you give it to?
I'd give it to the catcher.
I agree with you there.
I think you saw Langiati play that ball like he had in mind, don't let me run over Martinez, the top player in the world. Don't let me step on him and hurt him. But there again, I think Martinez on his part might have been able to take charge there too. I don't know whether either man called for it or not. It was not evident or obvious. But like you said, communication is so important, and somebody has to take charge. How many hits do you have down here for Eckerd?
2.
That's all I got. Scoreboard has 3. I think they're wrong. There's a one-hopper to the second baseman. Wardlaw will make his play over to Martinez, and that retires the side. No runs on a base hit. There were no errors, and a man is left on. After 2 innings of play, we're tied. Tampa 2 and Eckerd 2, and you're watching Sports Channel Florida.
Hello, and welcome to our special guest, McGruff the Crime Dog.
Thanks, Dick.
Now, do I understand that neighborhood watch programs have reduced crime in some areas as much as 50%?
That's right, but there's more to be done. Start a volunteer escort service for older folks.
Aha, good news for the old folks at home, eh? What about the young folks?
Start McGruff houses.
Which are?
Houses kids can duck into in case of trouble.
For more information, write to this address and help
take a bite out of crime.
Here in spring training's where we put it all together for the coming season. You got to start early, whether it's baseball or filing your taxes. File now and you'll be less likely to overlook deductions or make last-minute mistakes. And if you got a refund coming, you're going to get it faster. So why don't you put it all together? File now, and come April, while I'm hard at work, you can just sit back and enjoy the game.
And we are back, and we will go to the third inning.
Leading off the top,
Tied 2-2.
the catcher, number 10, Fred Langiati.
Fred Langiati will lead off. The Tampa catcher walked in the first inning. That is the only walk allowed by Jerry Granges. That's in there for a strike. Well, we shouldn't have the fielders having any trouble seeing the fly balls now. The lights have taken over completely. Good breaking ball. 0-2. Langiati, a .385 hitter. He's hit 12 home runs. He's got some power. A little bit outside. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Nice fluid pitching motion by Terry Granges. He's a hometown product. He right from here in St. Pete, went to Lakewood High School.
Fly ball, shallow center field, long run in for the center fielder, but Ortiz got a good jump on it, took charge, and made the play. So Junior Ortiz seeing that ball right off the bat. I think that's the secret for a good outfielder, especially a center fielder with so much territory to cover, seeing the ball right off the bat, and here he comes.
Well, now that the sun is set and it's dark, except, of course, on the field, this ball is much easier to see now in the dark than in twilight. But like you say, Frank, a good start is very important, almost as important as good speed.
Tito Martinez now struck out in the first inning. What I say, only the 7th time he had struck out all season long in 129 at-bats. Almost went for a pitch in the dirt, but he laid off. That time, that fly ball just a moment ago hit by Lanjotti. You could tell from Kubiak's reaction, going back and then fading out of the picture, that Ortiz had called for the ball all the way, and Kubiak heard him and got out of his way. Ball and 2 strikes.
There's that split finger ball that Granges throws. They pitched him inside earlier the first time up, Frank, and they struck him out on an inside fastball. I think that if he does have a weakness, Tito Martinez can be pitched inside.
Well, if he has a weakness, it's going to be, the word will get around, because I'm sure every game he plays, there are numerous scouts with their eye on him. 2-2 count. High heat, 3-2.
One thing you have to admire about Martinez is that he knows that all these other clubs are pitching around him all the time, and it makes it especially tough on him to maintain back control up there.
There's a base hit.
And not be too anxious and chase things out of the strike zone.
So Martinez gets his first hit of the night. And with 1 out, Martinez at first base, Terry Rupp the batter. Terry's from here in Tampa, Jesuit High School product. Pitch in the dirt, but knocked down by Mark Brown. Hit his bat, and that is a fair ball as it is fielded by Chris Carter. He had no play at second base. He goes to first to erase Rupp. There are 2 down. And it'll bring up Joey Wardlow, the second baseman. Wardlow reached when Junior Ortiz dropped his fly ball in the second inning. That resulted in a run. Wardlow came in to score on a 2-base hit by Russo. Ball 1. Curveball hung it, and that was driven in the air, right center field, on the run, and not able to get the ball. Scott Perry, that'll go all the way to the wall, and coming in, Tito Martinez, and Tampa leads 3-2. Long 2-base hit by Joey Wardlow.
I'm surprised Joey Wardlow got that good of a pitch to hit, Frank. He was a left-handed hitter. You had a base open with 2 outs. It would make sense to me that Granges would want to pitch around him if he had to, knowing that he had a base open and a right-handed hitter coming up next in Paul Russo.
Looked like he hung that pitch up to him, too.
I think that was a split finger that just he did hang it.
Yeah. Whatever it was, it hung up there right in his eyes, and he jumped on it. So Wardlow picks up his 30th RBI of the year, and the first pitch here to Paul Russo is lined foul to the right side. Russo doubled to right field to drive in a run, his first at bat. And he is 1 for 1. Inside. Ball and a strike. Tampa leading 3-2. The Spartans have 5 base hits now. 2 in this inning. Fastball grounded to short. It skids, but McDonald makes the play and then pulls his first baseman off the bag. The throw gets away, and another run's going to score. Joey Wardlow coming on in from second base to make it a 4-2 ball game. There will be an error there and an error all the way on the play. Error, of course, on the shortstop. McDonald, here it is. I don't know what happened on this throw, but he threw the ball in the dirt, and there's a case where the first baseman, Carter, trying to stay on the bag and reach out for the throw, and it gets completely by him. So Russo reaches, no run batted in. It's a 4-2 ball game, and Steve Malden hits this one on one hop to Carter, who picks it off neatly for the third out. Steps on the bag for an unassisted put out. 2 runs, 2 hits. 1 error, 1 man left on in the middle of the third inning now. It is Tampa 4, Eckerd 2, and you're watching Sports Channel Florida.
High blood pressure is the #1 health problem among black Americans. We're more likely to get it at a younger age, and it can do us more harm. Trouble is, some people think because they feel okay, they don't need treatment. But high blood pressure does damage to their bodies that can eventually kill them. Controlling high blood pressure doesn't have to be difficult. Keep in shape, don't smoke, cut down on salt. With today's drugs, you may be able to get the medication you need combined in 1 pill a day. Do it for the people who depend on it. No matter who you are, no one has more responsibility for your health than you do.
Norris will lead off the bottom half of the third inning. Tampa leading 4-2 in the ball game. And Norris, who grounded out his first trip, takes low. Well, we have had word from the official score going back to the first inning. Scott Perry's pop-up that was dropped by Rini Martinez for an error has now been changed to a double. Line drive left field. That's going to be in for a base hit. So Norris leads off the bottom half of the third with a single. That'll be base hit number 4. So he erased the error on the pop-up by Scott Perry to Rini Martinez in the first inning. Scored as a double. Here's a replay on this one as he hits it off the end of the bat to the opposite field and hit it with pretty good authority. That'll give Scott Perry a run batted in and make both the runs in the first inning earned runs on Myrock's record. Junior Ortiz drew a walk in the first inning, and that started Eckerd on its way to a couple of runs. Ground ball to short, should be a double play ball. They get the out at second, back to first. Not enough arm. Wardlow's throw over there on one hop and pulls Tito Martinez off the bag, so they do get 1. One down with a forced play at second. Here it is again.
Ortiz hits a tailor-made double play here to the shortstop, a typical 6-4-3. We can't quite get enough on it at second base. He came across the bag a little early, Frank. It looked like he threw off balance. That's a tough play to make if you are off balance. Very few guys, even in the major leagues, can throw that far with authority.
Timing's off just a bit there, huh? All right, here's Scott Perry. He's got a double in the ball game on the pop-up that was dropped. Takes a breaking ball for a ball. That'll give Perry his 29th run batted in as well, as Ortiz scored on the play in the first inning. 4-2. Tampa's leading here in the third. Pickoff throw, but not nearly in time. Ortiz back to the bag easily.
Scott Perry, a good pull hitter. Tampa Spartans are shading him, especially in the outfield, towards right field. Center fielder over in the right center shading the right center gap. In the infield, squeezing up a little bit towards second base in double play position.
Runner does not go. It is fouled out of play to the left side.
Ortiz is a good base runner at first base. I wouldn't be surprised to see a hit and run here. John Mayotte, the Eckerd coach, likes to hit and run. He likes to keep guys on the move all the time, maybe a straight steal. He'd like to get back in this game as soon as possible.
And the runner goes this time, and it's fouled back. So, Junior Ortiz, who leads the ball club in 9 offensive categories: at-bats, runs, hits, RBIs, doubles, triples, total bases, stolen bases, and slugging percentage. If you can digest all that, comes back to first base. Scott Perry recently had a streak in which he had 17 hits in 36 at-bats with 14 RBIs. Breaking ball blocked in the dirt by Lanjotti. Ortiz at first. And Ortiz dances back. Ortiz has not had a base hit tonight, but he has hit in 31 of the 34 games he has played this season. Back again.
Ortiz is taking a lead out there just about as much as he can get, Frank. I think that he's probably going to be stealing here in the next couple pitches. Of course, it's 3-2 here. A very good time to steal.
He does not go, and the ball is hit in the air, deep right field, way back, but it looks like he has a bead on it out there, and it is caught by Ricky Hart. Ortiz will come back to first base. Perry hit that ball a long ways. 330 down the lines here at Al Lang Stadium, but to the power alleys, it's 388 and 400 feet to center field. There you see the foul line and right, 330. Then it breaks back right there to 388, right there in the power alley. And a straightaway center where the batter's eye is located, it's 400 feet. This is a big ballpark. Gets a lot of use. Well, it did get a lot more use than it does now before the Mets moved. Swing and a miss by Joe Bolak. Bolak doubled to drive in a run in the first inning. His 8 home runs lead the club. There goes Ortiz, throw down, safe. Boy, good tag put on him by Rini Martinez. But Ortiz rolled safe with a stolen base. We'll look at it again, Chris.
That's a tough pitch to go on, a high fastball. A good release by Fred Lanjotti and a good tag. It's credit Ortiz with a big jump and good foot speed.
Count is 1-1 on Bolak. Fastball high and away. Bolak, I started to say a moment ago, his 8 home runs lead the team. He had one they measured out to 450 feet. That was against Rollins. They tell me his home run cleared the right field fence, went across the street, and landed on the roof of a garage. Is that right? You see it? I got proof here in the booth. It was seen, and that is an eyewitness report. That is a long shot. 3-1. If we get a break here later on, I'll tell you a story, Chris, on a home run hit by the late Luke Easter many years ago. One of the funniest stories. That one's out of play to the left side.
Here you see Bolak going a little bit to the left side. He hit a double in the first inning over to the left side, Frank, and he has a lot of power in the left center gap. I'm interested to see that Tampa is actually shading him to right. He does hit most of his home runs, of course, to right field, but he's got good power. I saw him in batting practice try to hit the ball the other way and expand the field of play for him.
If he hits the ball the other way, he'll get a run batted in. He draws a walk instead and goes down to first base. That'll be the second walk given up by Paul Mirock. He has walked 2 and struck out 1 in the ball game, and the one man he struck out is the man stepping in right now, the catcher Mark Brown. He struck out to end the first inning. Tampa is leading 4-2. Eckerd has the tying runs on base. They got a play on at second. That's a strike. There you saw Paul Mirock with his second baseman, Joey Wardlow, ducking in behind the base runner, Ortiz. Looked back, just held the ball. Sometimes a pitcher will not realize it and make a pitch with a big vacancy in his defense. Now time is called, and some umpires will and some won't grant time when the pitcher is already in his motion.
That upset some of the people in the Tampa dugout. The home plate umpire hearing some verbal barbs from the Tampa Spartan bench.
I can understand that. Through the right side, base hit. They will wave the lead runner around. Ortiz trying to score, throw to the plate. He scores standing up. And it's a 4-3 ball game now, as once again, Eckerd follows scoring with scoring. Mark Brown with a drive through the right side into right field, driving in run number 3 for the Tritons. Here it is again.
Here's a little bit of an inside-out swing. I believe he meant to go that way all the way, Mark Brown. A good piece of hitting, good piece of clutch 2-out hitting, getting Eckerd back in the ball game. Now it's a 1-run game.
Tying run is at second base, Joe Bolak. And the batter will be Chris Carter, who grounded out to the shortstop his first trip. There are 2 down. Carter takes a strike. A lot of action, a lot of scoring in this ball game, and evenly divided scoring, really. A ball 1-1. When I say evenly divided, Eckerd scored 2 in the bottom half of the first. Tampa came back with 2 in the second. Now Tampa scored 2 in the top half of the third, and Eckerd's come back with 1 in their half and still batting. High with a fastball, and the count is 2-1.
Mirock now having a little bit of trouble with getting his breaking ball over, Frank. He's got to spot that breaking pitch to complement his good fastball. Anybody who lives with the number 1 all day long is going to get hurt sooner or later.
That's out of the strike zone, and the count is 3-1. So he is in danger of walking the bases loaded. Check out the Tampa bench. 3-1 pitch. Line back up the middle, base hit. That's what you were talking about, Chris. They're going to try to score the tying run. Throw coming in toward the plate is knocked down near the mound. It would have been off the mark. Bolak scores the tying run, and we've got a 4-4 ball game as Chris Carter drives one right back up the middle.
When a guy's having control problems and falls back 3-1, chances are he's going to throw a fastball. That's what Chris Carter guessed on this pitch, and he guessed right and lined it up the middle for an RBI single.
Well, just like you'd said a moment ago, you see the run scoring in the person of Joe Bolak, just like you'd said a moment ago, Chris, you cannot live by the number 1 all the way through a ball game. Here's Barney Earl. He hit back to the box and was thrown out by the pitcher his first trip. He cannot catch up with that one.
I'm not sure if the respective coaches knew that there was going to be this much offense in the game, Frank, but we've had no bullpen activity thus far. And we've had some pretty good offense.
No balls and 2 strikes. Tampa currently in second place in the Sunshine State Conference with Eckerd a game behind. That's a ball, 1-2. High foul. That'll be out of play off the first base side. The Tritons of Eckerd have won 19 of their last 25 games for an overall record of 21-13. They had a rough start to the season. Earl with a count of 1-2 steps back in. And takes the fastball just out of the strike zone. So 2 ball, 2 strike count with 2 on and 2 gone. Through the right side and off the glove of the diving Wardlow. That will make it easier for Mark Brown to come in to score. That ball goes straight through to the right fielder. Hardy might have had a shot at him at the plate. As it is, Eckerd has taken the lead 5-4. Now some more clutch hitting in the ball game, and all this scoring after 2 men were out.
We've talked about the opposite field hitting at both these ball clubs. Here Barney Earl going the other way. And when you get a guy like Paul Moyrock who's throwing that hard out there and you try to pull him, you're going to pop the ball up and you're going to hit it on the ground without any authority. If you decide to go with the ball, you've got things working in your favor, and it's easier to get the ball through the infield.
Some very disciplined hitting by the Eckerd team. Peter Kubiak got a base hit up the middle his first at bat. Bounces this one to second base. Wardlow has it and throws him out. That'll retire the side. But not before Eckerd bats 8 men, scoring 3 runs on 4 base hits. And after 3 full innings of play, it's Eckerd 5, Tampa 4 on Sports Channel Florida.
Be sure to buy your 50-50 drawing tickets in the stand and take a chance at winning half of the
High blood pressure is the #1 health problem among black Americans. We're more likely to get it at a younger age, and it can do us more harm. Trouble is, some people think because they feel okay, they don't need treatment. But high blood pressure does damage to their bodies that can eventually kill them. Controlling high blood pressure doesn't have to be difficult. You keep in shape, don't smoke, cut down on salt. With today's drugs, you may be able to get the medication you need combined in 1 pill a day. Do it for the people who depend on you. No matter who you are, no one has more responsibility for your health than you do.
Well, you take a look at the flag out there on the right center field flagpole. If you were watching our ball games earlier this week from over at the University of South Florida in Tampa, you can see there's quite a difference. The wind is almost calm as compared to what it had been earlier this week. We're at Al Lang Stadium on the waterfront here in St. Petersburg, Florida, and we go to the 4th inning with Eckerd now leading 5-4. And the first pitch here to the left-hand hitting Ricky Hart. Pop foul off the left side, and that is just beyond the Cyclone fence and out of play. Hart was called out on strikes in the 2nd inning. Norris and McDonald gave that ball a long run. 3-inning total show Eckerd 5 runs, 7 hits, and 3 errors. Tampa 4 runs, 5 hits, and no errors. downstairs. 1-1. Terry Granches pitching to Ricky Hart. And a foul off the right side. Florida Southern leads the Sunshine State Conference with a record of 9 wins, 1 loss. Tampa in the conference is 7-3. Eckerd is 6-4. St. Leo 4-6. Florida Institute of Technology and Rollins each 2-8. That one almost got him.
One thing that John Mayotte touched on before the game in the interview, Frank, was the very good pitching that he has over at Eckerd. They have a team earned run average way down in the 3s, and a team batting average about 299.
Well, that's a good balance right there.
Very good balance.
Now, if what we've seen tonight is an indication, though, he might worry a little bit about his defense.
Well, hopefully they've made all the errors they're going to make tonight, at least in the eyes of John Mayotte.
That on the inside corner, strike 3. Hart is rung up for the second time tonight. And we'll take another look at it.
This is an outstanding pitch. You've seen that Granches has the ability to throw the ball on the inside part of the plate, right on the black. That's a pitch that is very difficult to throw for a right-handed pitcher. He's got that down very nice. I'm impressed with this young man.
I think he set it up about 2 pitches ago, too. First pitch here to Rennie Martinez is grounded to shortstop. He's thrown out by McDonald, and quickly there are 2 away. So I'd say a moment ago, I think that he set that up a little earlier. But he can start that pitch right in at the hitter, and it'll tail back over the plate. I'll tell you, when a pitcher can do that, he's got really another weapon out there.
Easy to pitch on both sides of the plate when your ball moves that much. Very unusual for a right-hander to have that much movement on the ball. Usually left-handers are the guys that have that movement.
Yep. Jerry Chrysocanis has singled and grounded into a very strange double play. Count evens at a ball and a strike. Jerry came in hitting .313, and right now he's 1 for 2 in this game. Bounces this one to second base. Running pickup by Kubiak, who throws him out, and an easy inning for Granches. 3 up, 3 down. First time we've seen that. And in the middle of the 4th inning, the score, Eckerd 5, Tampa 4 on Sports Channel Florida.
The forest is home to many living things. That's why, if you're careless with fire when you go to the forest, you could burn a lot more than trees.
Red tape kills in times of disaster by delaying life-saving medicines from getting off the ground. AmeriCares cuts through red tape. We rush relief to earthquake-torn El Salvador, the volcano-ravaged Colombia, to Poland after Chernobyl, because in times of disaster, time lost means lives lost. Help AmeriCares cut through red tape. Together, we'll get it there.
Well, that's the score as we go to the bottom half of the 4th inning here at Al Lang Stadium. And it'll be the top of the batting order for Eckerd, Tim McDonald, Bill Norris, and Junior Ortiz. Coach John Mayotte attained his 500th coaching victory against the University of Southern Maine just a little over, well, about 2 weeks ago on March 25th. Swing and a miss there by Tim McDonald, who was twice grounded out to second baseman Joey Wardlow.
John Mayotte started his college coaching in Florida, down here at the University of South Florida, Frank. While I was a student and a player on the South Florida team, he was an assistant to Robin Roberts.
How about that? 1 strike pitch. That's a called strike 2. Well, he has now won 504 games, losing 187 for 73% winning percentage, and that is just fantastic. At Eckerd, he has a 70% winning percentage. Now that pitch just outside. Under Mayotte, Eckerd has won 370, lost 159. In the summertime, after school lets out, John Mayotte goes up and coaches in the Cape Cod League. As for the last 5 years, he's seen some good players up there. Bouncing ball to shortstop, picked by Rini Martinez. This time, perfect throw to his brother Tito. And for the third time, Tim McDonald grounds out. John Mayotte managed the Chatham A's of the Cape Cod League the last 5 summers. He was telling me before the ball game, Chris, that Sports Channel is going to televise some Cape Cod League games this year, but I would presume that is Sports Channel New England. Be interesting.
That's a very good caliber of baseball they play in that league.
Yes, it is. Bill Norris is the batter. He has 1 for 2 in this ball game tonight. Grounded out his first trip, then single to the opposite field, to left field, leading off the third. That's fouled away to the left side. There are 2 great summer leagues for college players. The Cape Cod League, and what is the other one up in Alaska?
The Alaskan League.
Is that what they call it, the Alaskan League?
There's also the Basin League, which is out in the Colorado area.
No, I'm not familiar with that one. The Alaska League's one I was thinking of. Bouncing ball back over the mound. It's going to be tough to throw him out. He's saved. That'll be a base hit. Wardlow did everything he could with the baseball, but Norris, with a slow bouncer, legs it out. That'll be his second base hit. We'll take another look at it. It's a high chopper.
It's a high chopper off the hard ground in front of home plate. A good play, both ends. Norris just outruns that ball.
So he has a base hit, his second of the game. And that is base hit number 8 for Eckerd College in the ball game. And it brings up Junior Ortiz. Now, Ortiz has scored 2 runs tonight. He has not had a base hit. He has walked and reached on a fielder's choice. As mentioned earlier, Ortiz has hit in 31 of the 34 games in which he has played this year. Check swing. Did he check it in time? They'll ask the base umpire, and he says it was checked. And the count 1-1. I'll read those signs for me. Never mind.
You know, I asked John Mayotte before the game if he would give me the signs so I could call the plays before they happened up here. And, of course, John, being the New Englander that he is, even though he's transplanted down here to Florida, keeps his cards very close to his vest.
Bouncing ball left side. And they get the force at second, back to first, not in time. Martinez to Wardlow. He races Bill Norris. But Ortiz, with his good leg speed, beats the throw to first base and keeps the inning alive.
Here you see a good ground ball. 6-4. Can we get the 3? Not quite. We've got good base speed, or good base running speed by a number of the hitters on both of these teams. I know that the Eckerd team, Ortiz, is the leading base runner on their club, and he's very hard to double up no matter how hard he hits the ball on the infield.
Well, the first 2 times he was on base, he scored. Now he's on for the 3rd time, and here's Scott Perry. Eckerd is leading 5-4 in the ball game. We're in the bottom half of the 4th inning. Perry doubled to drive in a run in the 1st inning. He hit a pop fly ball that Rini Martinez dropped, and the official score called it an error at first, then changed it to a base hit. So if it's a base hit, it has to be a double. He hustled down to second base. Then he flied out to deep right field in the 3rd. He showed us in the 3rd inning he's got some power. He drove Ricky Hart well back to the track. Fast and low, 2-0 the count.
Paul Myrock now keeping the ball down quite a bit. We remarked earlier how when he had his good fastball working in the 1st inning, he could throw up and throw the ball high in the strike zone and get away with it. My tendencies chart here, Frank, which charts fly balls and ground balls.
Runner goes. First of all, throw down. He's safe. Ortiz has stolen his second base of the ball game. We mentioned he leads this club in stolen bases among many other categories, and here he goes again.
Ortiz with a big jump, a stolen base all the way, although that was a lot closer on the replay than it looked the first time.
Let's look at it from another angle. There's the throw, and he gets the leg in.
I think the tag was missed all the way around. What I was saying about Myrock is that we thought we'd get a lot of fly balls and strikeouts out of him. He's got 9 outs that recorded on ground balls already. We're only in the 4th inning.
There's another one. Off the chest, but he grabs hold of it, and Wardlow finds the handle in time to throw Perry out, and that retires the side. No runs, a base hit. No errors, and a man left on. We've completed 4 with a score. Eckerd 5, Tampa 4. You're watching Sports Channel Florida.
The forest is home to many living things. That's why, if you're careless with fire when you go to the forest, you could burn a lot more than trees.
Red tape kills in times of disaster by delaying life-saving medicine from getting off the ground. AmeriCares cuts through red tape. We rush relief to earthquake-torn El Salvador, the volcano-ravaged Colombia, to Poland after Chernobyl, because in times of disaster, time lost means lives lost. Help AmeriCares cut through red tape. Together, we'll get it there.
And we're back for inning number 5 here at Al Lang Stadium. Seems a little strange when I park my car right in front of a sign that says space reserved for the St. Louis Cardinals office. I hope no Cardinals show up because I got their office blocked.
I think they're up there in the colder climes this time of year.
They sure are. Cardinals and the Mets put a lot of players on this ball field, though, over the spring training years. Fred Lanjotti out in front of that one, the count is strike 2. Lanjotti has walked and flied to center.
Lanjotti second in the Sunshine State Conference in home runs with 12, second only to Tino Martinez, his teammate and first baseman.
He takes a pitch up high, and the count 1-2. You mentioned earlier, Chris, in the early going of the telecast, and I'll get back to it in a second, right down the pitch. Off the end of the bat, right side, and it is fielded by Kubiak, and over to his pitcher, Granches in time. Good play there by Granches, getting over to cover, and Lanjotti is retired, scored on 4-1. What you mentioned earlier, there's such a very slight difference in Group 2 and Group 1 as far as baseball is concerned. I know earlier this year I had the opportunity of interviewing Ron Fraser, the head coach of the Hurricanes of Miami, as we watch Tito Martinez. He has struck out and singled and scored a run. But he was expressing the feeling that baseball overall in the college ranks all over the state of Florida is on such a high plane, and he's absolutely right. Fastball inside. Maybe Miami and Florida and Florida State get most of the notoriety, and especially the University of Miami. But Ron Fraser said certainly every school in the state deserves credit for its baseball program. Curveball is bounced right side, and up with it. Chris Carter goes to the bag ahead of Martinez. 2 out. Well, it's so true, I think, that overall here in the state of Florida, we have just great college baseball.
That's true, Frank. And on that same note, you would hear a lot more about some of these Division II schools if the Division I schools would put them on their schedule. A University of Miami will not play a Florida Southern, and very rarely will they play a University of Tampa. Florida Southern ranked number 1 in the nation amongst Division II schools. If they played Miami, Miami really would have nothing to gain and everything to lose by playing them and losing to them, which would be a very, very big possibility. So it's tough for these Division II schools to get games with high caliber competition outside of their own division.
2 balls and no strikes now to Terry Rupp. He is struck out and grounded out. That pitch is out of the strike zone. Rupp may be the largest lad on the field at 6'6" and 225. Basketball player as well at the University of Tampa. Takes a strike and it's 3-1. Fastball thrown through for a strike, and it's 3-2. Ranches, let's see, is 1, 2, 3, 4 strikeouts in the game. And that one loves slowly to third, charging Norris to throw plenty of time. And let's see now. Ranches has retired the last 7 men in a row since Russo reached on an error. In the middle of the 5th, the score, Eckerd 5, Tampa 4, Sports Channel, Florida. Baseball, the Miami Hurricanes. We've got the ball with 15 live games coming up on Sports Channel, Florida. Hey, any Ron Fraser team will be right up there. If you're watching Sports Channel, Florida, you're watching the Hurricanes channel, the same channel that's bringing you 15 live U of M basketball games this season. See it all, Hurricane baseball, basketball, tennis, and golf, right here on Sports Channel, Florida. We've got the ball, Hurricane fans.
After this joyride, I'm out of the crash dummy business for good.
But Vince, it's a great job. Heck, they'd have to pry me away from it.
Anybody home? Larry, they do pry you away from it.
Oh, yeah.
For years, I've been eating steering wheels. For what?
To prove how safety belts save lives.
But thousands die every year in car accidents because they don't buckle up.
Vince, we're dummies. We don't wear safety belts.
Larry, you really know how to hurt a guy. Hit it!
You're going to learn a lot from a dummy. Buckle your safety belt.
We go to the bottom half of the 5th inning. Eckerd leading 5-4, despite committing 2 errors in the ball game. If they took away that error in the 1st inning, that leaves only 2 for Eckerd. If they added the base hit, took away the let's see, what error was it we're talking about? I've only got 2 errors down for him anyway.
Well, they took away the pop-up or the fly ball error by Rini Martinez.
Yeah. Fouled away. Now let's see.
Very liberal scoring, I think. There could have been a couple more.
There were some, well, we put it this way, there were some plays in the ball game that were not made that should have been made. I tend to look at a game, I think, through a pitcher's eyes more than a hitter's eyes, Chris. I don't know why.
I appreciate that.
I knew you would. Polak has doubled and walked. He's driven in a run and scored a run. And that one down low. 5-4. Tampa tied the ball game with 2 in the 2nd after Eckerd had scored 2 in the 1st. Tampa went ahead 4-2, and then Eckerd came back for a 5-4 lead. That ball hit well. Deep right center field. On the run. Nobody catches up with it. It's off the warning track at the base of the fence. Joe coming back in. He's on his way to third. Play at third. No. Way up the line. 3-base hit for Joe Bolak. He drove that ball deep in the gap in right center field.
He's got a nice compact swing, Frank. He picked on that fastball down the middle, gave it a long ride. He stumbles a little bit coming around second base here, but makes it into third easily.
He almost missed the bag. He got caught in between strides going into second base. Sort of shortened up, did a little dance step to be sure he stepped on second, and in so doing almost fell down. He's at third with a triple, and Mark Brown, the batter. Brown has struck out in single. Pitch in the dirt. Get a left-hander up down in the Tampa bullpen. We'll try to pick him up for you in just a second. Right now, the pitch away. Fly ball, right field. That'll get the run in. Drifting back, Ricky Hard makes the catch. Bolak tags at third base. He'll come on to score easily. And it's a 6-4 ball game as Mark Brown drives in the run with a sacrifice fly.
All he's got to do here is get the ball into the outfield. With nobody out, he's got to hit a fly ball or a ground ball anyway, deep enough to score the runner. Mark Brown does his job and picks up an RBI.
Dan Maglick is the man in the bullpen, M-A-G-L-I-C-H. Meanwhile, Chris Carter will step in with one out, nobody on, and a run across. Carter tonight has grounded out and singled. He has driven in a run, has a count of a ball and a strike. Muroc trying to overthrow a little bit right now. Throws Evan in the dirt. Skips up and hits his catcher, Fred Langiati. Upstairs, 3-1.
Kind of a case of over-adjustment there, Frank. He threw one 50 feet and then threw one almost over the head of everybody.
That ball will hit down toward the left field corner. That's going to be a fair ball, and it is off the wall. The ball is in play as Carter races on to second base for the double. There have been some pretty good shots hit off Paul Muroc.
Especially opposite field shots. And this ball by Chris Carter hit with a lot of authority. Almost, it hits the base of the wall on left field. You know, Frank, and I'm not taking anything away from Chris Carter or any of the other college hitters, but I think if you have a hitter with a wood bat up there, you're not going to see the ball fly that far off of it. Very few guys, even in the big leagues, can hit the ball opposite field with that much authority. Here in college, you have, of course, aluminum bats and magnesium bats, but the difference is, the biggest difference is that the barrel of the bats are bigger and that the handles are smaller, and you can take a 33 or 34-inch bat up there, and it may only weigh 29 ounces. If you use a wooden bat, if you're going to take a 34-inch bat, chances are it's going to weigh, at the very minimum, 32 or 31 ounces.
Well, right now, they may have a pitching change in mind. As they have, as you saw a moment ago, the left-hander in the bullpen and Kenny Dominguez on his way out to the mound. Dominguez, with that slow, very deliberate walkout, has seen Muroc tagged pretty hard in the ball game tonight, although he is chatting right now and has not made any motion toward his pen. Meanwhile, down on the left side, in the left-hand left field bullpen area, number 18, Dan Maglick, continues to throw. He's waiting for the call, says, "I'm ready, coach. Put me in, coach, I'm ready," and he's coming in. So we will have the pitching change made, and Muroc will leave after pitching 4 1/3 innings. He goes out trailing by a score of 6-4. He's allowed 10 base hits in the ball game. Has given up, let's see, 2 walks. And he has 1 strikeout. So we will double check on the pronunciation of this young man's name. I have said, and I hope I'm correct, Dan Maglick. Keep an ear out for the public address announcer to be sure.
Now pitching for the Cardinals, number 18, Dan Maglick.
So Dan Maglick will take over and try to put out the fire here in the 5th inning. Really, Tampa is still very much in the ball game if he can hold things right where they are. but he takes over with 1 out and a runner at second base, and Carter becomes a very big run out there at second base. Really bigger for Maglick and Tampa to strand than it is for Eckerd to score. I think when you got a 2-run lead in the ball game, it is, and a runner in scoring position. The third run, of course, the 3-run lead means a lot to the team, but it means even more to the team on the other end of that score, if you know what I'm talking about.
I do, Frank, and it is very important for Tampa to strand him out there. Here's a good shot of Dan Maglick. He's got a nice, slow, deliberate leg kick. He's got another guy with 1 strikeout per innings here. He's got a high ERA, but that may be attributable to 1 or 2 bad outings only. But looks to me like he's got a pretty good curveball. He comes right over the top with a fastball. Not a whole lot of movement, but he's got some authority and some pop on it.
And you do like that strikeout per inning ratio, especially the guy coming out of the bullpen. I've always felt this way, Chris. When if I've got a ball club, I want my people coming out of the bullpen to be flamethrowers. I don't know. You come in, you go to the bullpen when you're in trouble. I like to see a guy come out that could strike somebody out. Not to say he's going to do it every time, but has the potential to do it. First pitch thrown to Barney Earl is a called strike. I used to love to watch Sparky Lyle come into a ball game for the Yankees. Or the Goose. Gossage.
So did all the other Yankee fans.
Yeah, I guess so. That's a strike call. The count is 0-2 on Barney Earl. Earl is 1 for 2, had a base hit to drive in a run in the 3-run third inning. The inning in which the Eckerd Tritons came from behind to take the lead. Now away, 1-2. They made quite an act out of Sparky Lyle's appearance into a ball game. He'd come in the bullpen car at Yankee Stadium, get out of the car, throw his jacket down. They'd be playing pomp and circumstance on the PA system. Blown in, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Him flapping his glove against his thigh.
Yeah.
And he lived up to those expectations.
He really
just
did.
about all the time.
He did. Very consistent, very fine relief pitcher. Check swing, and did he check it in time? No, he's out on strikes, called out by the baseline umpire. That's one of the few times since I've been watching college baseball games that I've seen an appeal ruled a strike. Saw a strikeout for Maglick.
Well, you be the judge. Did he go?
Evidently he did.
Usually in slow motion like that, when we see it a second time, they go all the time. I think the umpire should start. Well, so we're going to see it one more time in slow motion, if we can hold it on there. I think he went.
And Kubiak stands in. Takes ball 2, breaking pitch. Down in the bullpen again, they got a right-hander up now in Sam Militello. Well, he was up. There he is. Taking things easy for the moment.
Militello, I think, maybe just getting some work in. He's a starter, and the last time he pitched against Eckerd, he threw a 4-0 shutout. So I think they'll probably keep him probably as a starter to, unless they're grooming him now for maybe a closer role.
Pitch is inside. Ball 4. Kubiak walks, putting runners at first and second with 2 outs. And bringing up the top of the order, Tim McDonald.
Now batting the shortstop, number 12, Tim McDonald.
When the Yankees moved Dave Righetti from a starting role to the bullpen, a long argument waged on which was the most important role, a potential 20-game winner as a starter or a short-inning relief man who could come in and consistently do the job in that role. I've always felt that the relief man really is more important. Everybody says, well, look, here's Righetti. He can go out there and win 20 games for you. But if he doesn't have anybody to save some of those games,
that's
who
right.
says he's going to win 20? McDonald takes a strike. and nubs this one back toward the mound. It is fielded cleanly by Maglick, and he throws him out to retire the side. 1 run scores on 2 base hits, no errors, 2 men left. After 5 complete, the score is Eckerd 6 and Tampa 4 on Sports Channel Florida. Baseball, the Miami Hurricanes. We've got the ball with 15 live games coming up on Sports Channel Florida. Hey, any Ron Fraser team will be right up there. If you're watching Sports Channel Florida, you're watching the Hurricanes channel, the same channel that's bringing you 15 live U of M basketball games this season. See it all, Hurricane baseball, basketball, tennis, and golf, right here on Sports Channel Florida. We've got the ball, Hurricane fans.
After this joyride, I'm out of the crash dummy business for good.
But Vince, it's a great job. Heck, they'd have to pry me away from it.
Anybody home? Larry, they do pry you away from it.
Oh, yeah.
For years, I've been eating steering wheels. For what?
To prove how safety belts save lives.
But thousands die every year in car accidents because they don't buckle up.
Vince, we're dummies. We don't wear safety belts.
Larry, you really know how to hurt a guy. Hit it!
You could learn a lot from a dummy. Buckle your safety belt.
We go to the 6th inning with Eckerd leading by a score of 6-4.
The second baseman, number 2, Joey Wardlow.
Joey Wardlow will be the leadoff batter for the Tampa Spartans. As you look at Terry Granches, he's done quite a job. A little shaky start, but now he has settled down and throws the first pitch for a strike. And on your tendency chart there, Chris Welch, you've got an interesting stat for us.
Well, early in the game, Terry Granches was recording most of his outs on strikeouts and occasional ground ball, but of the 7 hitters that he's retired in a row, Frank, 6 of those have been on ground balls, which is indicative of him being able to get his split-finger fastball over the plate. There you see it.
Wardlow tried to bunt it for a base hit and missed it for a strike, and the count is 0-2.
When I say split-finger fastball, the pitcher holds the ball and just splits his index and his middle finger apart, kind of like a forkball, but not quite as far apart as a forkball. And it's becoming a very popular pitch lately, and more you're going to see it more and more. I think here in the late 1980s and the 90s, it's the pitch of the future.
5 years ago, you never heard of it. Dropped, picked up, thrown to first base for the putout. So that'll be strikeout number 5, if I have counted correctly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Roger Craig, the San Francisco Giants manager, is probably the biggest and the most famous proponent of the split-finger pitch.
But isn't it, though, relatively new? 5 years ago, 6 years ago? Did you ever hear of it?
Well, didn't really hear of it prior to 5 years ago, but there are some old-timers that said that this guy or that guy threw this pitch way back when. And, of course, now it's so popular, and the thing that makes it popular is that it's relatively easy to throw, and you don't have to change your motion in any way. You throw it just like a fastball, you just hold the ball differently.
Paul Russo is hitting with a pitch. So Granches, after retiring 8 men in a row, Russo was the last man to reach. He reached on an error, and here he's hit on the left arm. And goes down to first base. Here it is on the replay. Just bites and bites and bites and finally nips him. Well, Carter will hold him on at first base, 1 away, and it brings up Steve Malden. So with a runner on at first base, the Tampa Spartans bring the tying run to the plate. I think that was the last thing in this world that Terry Granches wanted to do was hit a batter.
Well, he has to protect himself by pitching on both sides of the plate, and he has shown us that he's not afraid to pitch inside, and that pitch really wasn't too far in, but Malden just not able quite to get out of the way. And this ball, we mentioned the kind of movement that Terry Granches has on his pitch. This ball really comes up and in on Malden.
Late reaction, too, by Malden, as we see on the replay.
By Russo, I should say.
By Russo, yeah, as we see on the replay. Now Malden pulls one foul down the left side, and the count will be a ball and a strike. The score. Eckerd out in front. Fouled away with that inside-out swing there.
every coach has a different set of signs, of course. They try to keep them as simple as possible. Hat for hit and belt for bunt, but indicators are the things that make all these things a little bit different. If I go to my hat first and then I go to my belt, that means a bunt. If I go to my knee and then go to my belt, it means nothing. And that way, if they only can change the indicator, if they have a feeling that the other team picks up their signs, it's easy for them to change it without all the guys on the team being confused.
Ball and 2 strikes to count. And the ball hit in the air, left center field. Deep on the run, and it is caught by the center fielder, Junior Ortiz. A great running catch by Ortiz. Superb play by the Eckerd center fielder. Look at there, said nothing to it, 2 outs.
Ballin hits this ball real well, way back to the 400-foot sign. Ortiz on his horse. Good pursuit right here. Never took his eye off the ball. Right up against the wall.
Superb play by Junior Ortiz. 2 down. Russo back at first base. The batter, Ricky Hart. Rounds this one foul off the right side. Hart twice has been called out on strikes. Branches has struck out 5 men. And again, Ortiz will be tested. This is a routine play for him. No runs, no hits, no errors. A man left on. And after 5.5 innings, the score is Eckerd 6, Tampa 4. Sports Channel, Florida. Baseball, the Florida Gators. And we've got the ball with 15 live games coming up on Sports Channel, Florida. If you're a Gator fan, Sports Channel Florida has your ticket to University of Florida sports action. In a few weeks, the Orange and Blue Gator Inter-Squad spring football game. And in the fall, 11 tape-delayed regular season games. Sports Channel Florida's got them, plus University of Florida gymnastics, tennis, swimming, track and field. Sports Channel Florida, we've got the ball, Gator fans.
You never know what to expect from adopted children. After all, this one became president. And these adopted kids skated to the Olympics. And this one went far in education. And this adopted kid dove into world fame. Adopted children are just like other kids. They're kids with great expectations.
We go to the bottom half of the 6th inning. Eckerd leads 6-4. And the broadcast rights to this game have been granted to Sports Channel by the Sunshine State Conference solely for the entertainment of our audience. Any reproduction or other use of this program without the consent of Sports Channel Florida is prohibited. Bill Norris, 2 for 3 in the game, takes a strike. Norris grounded out in the 1st inning, singled in the 3rd, and had an infield hit in the 4th. Dan Maglick with a curveball, missing low and outside. A ball and a strike. Eckerd 6 runs on 10 hits. Tampa 4 runs on 5 hits. If Eckerd should win this ball game, the Tritons will have a record of 7-4 in the conference, and would also drop Tampa down to a record of 7-4, and a tie for 2nd place behind Florida Southern's 9-1 to lead the conference. Well, he was fooled on that pitch.
Good sweeping curveball by Dan Maglick.
Bill Norris has 5 3-hit games since his insertion into the lineup on March the 12th. 11 games with 2 or more hits, and add this game 2 hits, giving him 12 games with 2 or more. But he's frustrated there in his try for his 3rd. He'll have another at-bat in all probability. Well, he has to have another at-bat. And we'll take another look at that last swing. He's fooled again, I think.
Well, we talked about Dan Maglick's curveball. There it is. Good location. If you can stay away from the lefties with that curveball, staying on the outside part of the plate with them, very tough to catch up to, because most of the left-handed hitters are full hitters, as is that freshman Bill Norris.
One away, and Junior Ortiz, the batter. He has scored 2 runs tonight. He is 0 for 2 at the plate, reaching 3 times, 2 force outs and a walk. And he takes a strike. That's a strike, and it's 0-2. High and away. And the 1-2 pitch with 1 out. 2 balls and 2 strikes. We were talking about Coach John Mayotte a while ago and the fact that he manages up in the Cape Cod League. He's been a long-time scout for the Baltimore Orioles, 8 years. Two-2 delivery, and that is a fair ball. That'll go for extra bases. Junior Ortiz, who can run, will go to second base and be content with a 2-base hit. The ball run down quickly by Ricky Hart, who got it back into Joey Wardlow. So a double for Ortiz, and he has extended, well, not a hitting streak, but he has now hit in 32 out of 35 games in which he has played.
We've seen a lot of opposite field hitting tonight, Frank, and here's another piece of it by Junior Ortiz. Laces the ball down the right field line. It's got a double written all over it with his speed. It's an easy double.
I know, Chris Welch, on ball clubs you've been with in the major leagues, I'm sure you've sat and heard the hitters lectured by the manager and the coaches. You've got to take this guy the other way. You've got to go to the opposite field. But how many times will guys try to do it in a ball game? Not that often. Tonight, very disciplined hitting by the Eckerd ball players in going the other way and going with the pitch so very well.
Very impressive hitting, too. It opens up the field for you. It puts the defense on their toes a little bit more, and knowing not where you're going to hit the ball, and the pitcher has a harder time setting you up with certain pitches.
He got a great jump stealing third, and he is in there easily. Stolen base number 3 tonight for Junior Ortiz.
Like you said, Frank, he got a great jump. It's a high fastball, a tough pitch to steal on, especially with a left-handed hitter up there.
But he got such an excellent jump.
Fred Langiotti really, he doesn't even have a shot at it because the throw is on the money.
I think Maglick forgot all about him out there, really, is what it appeared to be.
Maglick's a little bit deliberate to the plate, too.
Now the infield comes in, and a pitch on the inside corner to Scott Perry for a count of 2 balls and a strike. Ortiz with 4 stolen bases in the game. He's stealing home. Nope, squeezes on. He's going to score. The only play will be to first base, and that comes in with run number 7 for the Tritons as they put the suicide squeeze on, and Scott Perry lays down the bunt beautifully. A run batted in, no at bat, sacrifice 1-3.
Well, Frank, you talked earlier how important that third run is as insurance, and John Mayotte certainly agrees with you by putting a squeeze play on. Beautifully executed on both ends. A good jump by the base runner Ortiz, and a perfect bunt by Scott Perry.
The timing is so important on the suicide squeeze. Here's Joe Bolak. Has a perfect night going. He has doubled, tripled, walked, scored twice, and driven in a run. The runner at third breaks too soon. He gives it away. If I'm a pitcher and know that he's coming in, I hit the batter or try to. Line drive right at the first baseman, speared by Tito Martinez for the third out. 1 run, 1 hit, no errors, nobody left. And at the end of 6, Eckerd 7, Tampa 4 on Sports Channel Florida.
Rumors make great headlines. Like the one about me going back to play for the Vikings. Boy, is that a rumor. But rumors can also create a panic, like the ones about AIDS. Some people think you get AIDS from donating blood. The fact is, you can't. When you give blood, it's the first and the last time that that needle is used. All needles are sterile and disposable. So get the facts before you believe the rumors.
Rumors are spreading faster than AIDS. For more information, write the American Red Cross.
Most days, Charlie catches the early bus to work. Most days, Charlie's going full speed before the others even arrive. But today isn't like most days. You see, Charlie and millions more suffer from ileitis or ulcerative colitis, incurable intestinal diseases.
How you doing tonight, Charlie?
Like a stomachache that never goes away. Write to the National Foundation for Ileitis and Colitis. We need your help to find a cure. Don't let Charlie's life go by without him.
Tomorrow afternoon on Sports Channel Florida, it's University of Florida football. Catch a sneak preview of the 1988-89 Gator football season. Join David Steele and Lee McGriff at 1 p.m. for the annual University of Florida Inter-Squad Spring Football game. Right here on Sports Channel Florida, your University of Florida channel. That'll be tomorrow afternoon at 1 o'clock. Rennie Martinez for the count of 0-2. Branch is really breezing right along now after a shaky start in the game. Line drive and backhand play neatly by Kubiak and throws him out. What a play that was by Peter Kubiak. Made it look easy. And that is not an easy play to make. Well, one out here in the top of the seventh. It'll bring up the top of the order, Jerry Crucicanis. He bunted at it. He missed it. Got a swinging bunt.
Crucicanis and on-deck circle hitter Fred Langiotti trying to set the table here for Tino Martinez.
Well, he drags the bunt. Can he beat it out? He does. That'll be a base hit. Late break over to first base by Branches, or so it appeared. And a good drag bunt single by Crucicanis. Well, he knows they need base runners.
When a drag bunt like this is executed properly, it's very difficult to defense. He's going to beat Branches to the bag, heads down right here, as you can see, and the ball not being fielded properly by the first baseman. That's a base hit all the way.
Yep, it is.
He showed it the first time. I'm surprised he came back with it right. It's second pitch.
That's the first hit since the third inning for the Tampa Spartans, and it brings up Langiotti, who has walked, flied out, and grounded out. Langiotti is 0 for 2. Came in hitting .385. Very lofty batting average. That's a strike, and it's 1-1.
This is the guy that Terry Branches really wants to retire right here. Not necessarily a ground ball, a double play, of course, although he'd like to have one. But he doesn't want Tino Martinez up there as the tying run. With one man on, Martinez hits a home run. It'll be a 7-6 game. With two men on.
Well, there's one off the fist. Out at second, throw back to first, out at first for the double play, and he's out of the inning. A 6-4-3 double play as he got Langiotti right off the hands with that pitch. No runs, a base hit, no errors, nobody left on. And in the middle of the seventh inning, the score is Eckerd 7, Tampa 4, Sports Channel Florida. Baseball, the Florida Gators. And we've got the ball with 15 live games coming up on Sports Channel Florida. If you're a Gator fan, Sports Channel Florida has your ticket to University of Florida sports action. In a few weeks, the Orange and Blue Gator Inter-Squad Spring Football game. And in the fall, 11 tape-delayed regular season games. Sports Channel Florida's got them, plus University of Florida gymnastics, tennis, swimming, track and field. Sports Channel Florida, we've got the ball, Gator fans.
dummies, crashing on through, busting our heads just for you. My name is Vince, this job makes me sore. If you'd buckle up, I wouldn't do it no more.
They call me Larry. I'm a dummy too. When you don't buckle up, the dummy is you.
Buckle that belt.
These are professional dummies. Do not attempt this at home.
Buckle that belt. We know one thing to say, and we know we're not wrong. When you go for a ride, put your safety belt on.
We're at Al Lang Stadium here in St. Petersburg, Florida. Tomorrow night on Sports Channel Florida, we have more University of Florida action when the Tigers of Auburn University take on the Gators in baseball, live at 6 p.m. David Steele and Nick Belmonte will bring you all the action right here on Sports Channel Florida. That's tomorrow night at 6 Eastern Time.
Leading off the bottom of the seventh for the Trojans, the catcher, number 24, Mark Brown.
Bottom half of the seventh inning, and leading off for the Tritons, Mark Brown, the catcher. I'll tell you something, Chris Welch, after the early going in this ball game, when there were some rather rough and loose plays out there, it's been an outstanding game.
Very good game. Crisply played and very fast game, too,
yes,
since the third inning.
Mark Brown has struck out, singled, and driven in a run with a sacrifice fly. He has scored once, batted in two. He went fishing that time, 0-2. Dan Maglick has shown something since coming on in relief in the fifth inning. Struck out Barney Earl, walked Peter Kubiak, and McDonald on a comebacker. Gave up a run on a double, a couple of stolen bases in the sixth, but he has pitched pretty well. That one is fouled back. Meanwhile, the Eckerd Tritons get their bullpen ready, just in case. They have a sophomore Jamie Holloway and a junior Bill Wannon. Both right-handers loosening up just in case they should be needed. High fastball on the count, 1-2. Off the hands and foul back. A lot of pitching inside and well done. I'll tell you the truth, you see more pitching inside in college ball anymore than you do in pro ball.
Yeah, you sure do, and I'm not really so sure that it's not because of the new rule changes that we've had enacted in recent years, where it makes it very difficult for a pitcher in pro ball to pitch inside and stay in the ball game.
Yes. Well, now an umpire has the right to throw a pitcher out of the game without a warning, even if he feels that he is pitching inside, too close inside. I don't know. That's put a lot of burdens on the umpires, I think.
Yes.
That ball taken to right field, coming hard, and a nice running catch by Ricky Hart. Another excellent defensive play in the ball game. Hart got a good jump on that ball, had him played fairly shallow, and picked it right off his shoe tops.
Off the end of the bat, he's got to come a long way from this. Hart right down around the shoe tops. Keeps his eye on it the whole time, taking care to run on the balls of his feet and not on his heels. Very important for you youngsters to think about, and the reason being is that when you run on the balls of your feet, you can keep somewhat of a steady plane with your head. When you run on your heels, that ball will jump up and down in your line of sight like a knuckleball.
Carter, 2 for 3, and a nice running pickup by Wardlow, and he throws him out. Well, we talked about some loose fielding by the Tritons earlier, or rather by the Spartans earlier in the ball game, but they have come up with some very fine fielding plays. It's been a well-played ball game all the way around. Right now for Eckerd, Barney Earl will step in.
One reason it has been such a well-played ball game, Frank, is that the pitchers are throwing strikes.
Right.
And they're throwing good strikes, too.
Yes, they are. That's very true. That does two things. You mentioned a fast-moving ball game, a lot of crispness to the play. Keeps the infielders on their toes. Give me a pitcher that'll throw strikes, and I'll take my chances with him. One strike delivery. That one's down low. The count 1-1. Well, if you're familiar with the Eckerd College baseball team, don't look for John Wheeler to come in relief tonight. Big left-handed freshman pitcher sitting up here next to me, keeping stats. A little twinge in his throwing arm. From Wilmington, Delaware, Sanford Prep. Hey, John? 2-1 pitch. Took something off of that one. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Been through Wilmington, Delaware many a time.
I was born in Wilmington, Delaware.
Who are you kidding me?
How about that?
You met John Wheeler? You guys aren't related, are you?
It's a small enough state that we should know each other.
That's right. 2-2 pitch. High. 3-2. Well, these guys trying to figure out where each other lived in Wilmington. How about that? 3-2 pitch with 2 outs. He walked him. So the Tritons have a base runner with 2 down here in the 7th inning, and Peter Kubiak will step in. Kubiak is singled, grounded out, and walked. So he's 1 for 2 in the ball game. Eckerd leads 7-4. You're familiar then with the Delmarva Peninsula?
Well, no, I'm not, Frank. I moved away there at a very young age and was raised in Cincinnati.
Oh, okay. Nice backhand pickup by the second baseman, Wardlow. And he takes it himself for the force play at second base. That'll retire the side. No runs, no hits, no errors. A man is left, and we've completed 7 innings. The score is Eckerd 7 and Tampa 4 on Sports Channel, Florida.
For over 10 years, he has answered the call. When people are in trouble, when everything is going wrong, when time is running out. But there's one call he answers every Saturday morning in an old station wagon that may be his most important rescue of all. He's a big brother, and he's making a big difference in the life of a boy who doesn't have a father to look to. But the alarming fact is, we don't have nearly enough men like him to help with the long list of children who have asked for a big brother.
There are waiting lists of thousands of youngsters, especially black and Hispanic children, waiting for an adult like you to call. Look up Big Brothers, Big Sisters in the phone book.
Okay, just one.
Or to have an agency contact you, dial 1-800-852-5000. They're not getting any younger, so do it today.
You can mean the difference between a boy feeling lost and found.
Well, there's the score. Eckerd leading 7-4. Wish you were here. That's very true. It's been just an ideal evening for baseball here in St. Petersburg. We told you we're right here on the waterfront. That's part of the marina. They're doing a lot to try to build up this bayfront area, but I'll tell you one thing. I'll give them a little advice. They ought to build a restaurant somewhere down here that is open in the afternoons. I drove down here, thought I'd have a nice dinner here in downtown St. Petersburg. You know, there's not a place to eat.
You know, you're going to probably get hundreds of letters from restaurant owners around here that are catching our telecast tonight with offering you free meals next time you're in town.
I don't want a free meal. I just want to be able to find a place where I can buy a meal. Every place I went was either closed or they don't serve until 6 o'clock or 5:30. Had to drive halfway back to Tampa to find dinner. Inside, 3-0, the count to Tito Martinez. Jimmy Hoog gets up in the Eckerd bullpen. Now, John, if I don't say that correctly, you correct me over there. Hoog, is that right? Jimmy Hoog. Here's their closer. Hoog. Jimmy Hoog. H-O-O-G. And let's see. Also, Bill Wannon still throwing. Full count now, 3-2. They call Jimmy Hoag their super reliever. He's had 4 saves in the last 10 days. Pitched in 6 games. All right. right now. Terry Granches with a full count on Tito Martinez. Martinez has singled in 3 trips tonight. 1 for 3 with a run scored. And it's a high fly ball, straightaway center field. Going back, Junior Ortiz to the track, to the wall, and he makes the catch. Ortiz used the whole ballpark way back right to the 400-foot marker, and then stretched high at the wall to pull it in. Fine play by Ortiz.
I didn't think that Martinez got all of this ball, Frank, but he ran it out right from the start. This ball kept carrying the wind. Really not a factor in this ball at all. Well, that's a super play by Ortiz, the second one we've seen him play up against the wall tonight.
Yes, sir, he can play out there, can't he?
He's a player offensively and defensively.
Terry Rupp now, and he drills one through the left side, base hit. That pitch was up. Rupp turned on it and pulled it through the hole. This will be the 7th hit of the ball game.
There's a fastball that stays right in the hitting zone. Rupp does what you're supposed to do with those and lines it for a base hit.
They'll send a pinch runner down to first base for him.
Halfway down the line, it looks like he had a little strain in his leg. He'll get some congratulations from his fellow Spartans in Tampa.
Bill Benton will go in and run for him. So with 1 out, a runner down at first base and a 7-4 lead by Eckerd. Tampa trying to fight back here in the 8th inning. And Joey Wardlow, the batter. He has scored 2 runs, reaching on an error. He has doubled and he has struck out. He's driven in a run and scored a run. Has a count of a ball and a strike. McDonald and Kubiak, double play depth. Outfield is straight up. And the pitch high and away, 2-1. I don't know whether Granches might be tiring just a bit. I don't know. But at any rate, the Tritons have plenty of help down there in the bullpen, should he be tiring. That's a strike. 2-2. See, Wardlow stepped out. He was not sure about that call. Swings on this one, nubs it back toward the mound. Fielded by Granches. He throws on to first base in plenty of time. Benton goes to second, but there are 2 outs now.
Now batting for the Spartans, the third baseman, number 25, Paul Russo.
Eckerd leading 7-4. And Paul Russo will stand in for the Tampa Spartans. Russo had a double and scored a run in the 2nd inning, reached on an error in the 3rd, and was hit with a pitch in the 6th. Well, he scored once and has 1 RBI. Hanging curveball is pulled foul. Bill Benton running for Rupp, goes back to second. The dugout gets a sign from the bullpen that they're ready, willing, and able down there.
You notice Terry Granches wanted that same ball back, Frank, the one that was fouled down the left field line. The pitcher gets a favorite ball, might have a favorite nick on it or 2, and especially in college ball, you're almost guaranteed to have a couple of scratches. He feels comfortable with that one.
He comes in with a high fastball. And I guess some baseballs just feel different than others. The seams are higher on some than they are on others, I guess.
Well, they're all supposed to meet the same specifications, but they all do feel a little bit different. The seams are different.
Bouncer to shortstop. Picked off by McDonald, and his throw across to Chris Carter. Retires Russo on the side. No runs, a base hit. No errors, a man left on. And in the middle of the 8th inning here at Al Lang Stadium, the score, Eckerd 7 and Tampa 4 on Sports Channel Florida.
You never know what to expect from adopted children. After all, this one became president. And these adopted kids skated to the Olympics. And this one went far in education. And this adopted kid dove into world fame. Adopted children are just like other kids. They're kids with great expectations.
Ladies and gentlemen, the late Yul Brynner.
I really wanted to make a commercial when I discovered that I was that sick and my time was so limited. I wanted to make that commercial that says simply, now that I'm gone, I tell you, don't smoke. Whatever you do, just don't smoke. If I could take back that smoking, we wouldn't be talking about any cancer. I'm convinced of that.
Shortstop, number 12, Tim.
It's the bottom half of the 8th inning here at Al Lang Stadium. Eckerd batting and leading, 7-4. The Tritons have 11 hits, and the Spartans, as you saw right there, have 7. Leading off for Eckerd College, it'll be Tim McDonald. He takes a pitch low for a ball. Foul is out of play. McDonald was a third baseman. They moved him over to shortstop. Had his problems early in the year, but has come on strong of late. In the 2 games against Florida Southern, he went 4 for 10, a .400 batting average, and started out tonight at .245. Ball and 2 strikes to him. I've always figured, Chris, it's easier for a shortstop to move to second or third than it is for a third baseman to move to shortstop. The positions are so different. Third base more of a reaction position.
Usually you see the better athlete at shortstop.
Popped up, foul off the first base side. Let's see if Langiati has a play, and he does. He played that one well. Keep from going into the dugout. He went into a little slide there, and he made the catch. So McDonald is retired.
Not to say that there are bad athletes playing third base, but usually you see the better athlete playing shortstop and the better hitter playing third base.
Yeah.
Here's a good play by Langiati here. Good pursuit. He takes the helmet and the mask off, comes all the way over, goes down on his knees, so if he does get close to the dugout, which he probably won't get a whole lot of help from the Triton bench, so he doesn't slide in and lose control. That's a good play.
Bill Norris now 2 for 4 in the game. Had base hits in the 3rd and 4th innings. Grounded out in the 1st, struck out in the 6th. And on the foul, the count will be a ball and a strike. 1 out, nobody on. Eckerd leading 4-7. If you're thinking about the top of the 9th inning, Tampa will have Malden, Hart, and Rini Martinez scheduled up. Bouncer to the left side of the shortstop. Rini Martinez over and throws him out. Two down. And the batter will be Junior Ortiz. He's had quite a night, Chris. Some outstanding plays in the outfield. He has scored 3 runs. He has stolen 4 bases. 1 for 3 officially, but he's been on base all 4 times to the plate. 1 walk, 2 fielder's choice, and a double.
Frankie has had an outstanding night tonight. Now we know why he is really the main cog in the whole Triton offense and defense, as a matter of fact. I'm not sure whether he's one of the captains of the Triton team, but they certainly look up to him as a team leader.
He certainly leads by example, I'll say that. 1-1 pitch. That is fouled out of play. It has been a very, very fine ball game. Eckerd is leading 7-4. One-two pitch. He reaches out, pops it up, maybe playable if anybody can get there, and the first baseman, Tito Martinez, does get there for the third out. 3 up, 3 down, nothing across, and at the end of 8 full innings, Eckerd 7, Tampa 4. You're watching Sports Channel, Florida.
High blood pressure is the #1 health problem among black Americans. We're more likely to get it at a younger age, and it can do us more harm. Trouble is, some people think because they feel okay, they don't need treatment. But high blood pressure does damage to their bodies that can eventually kill them. Controlling high blood pressure doesn't have to be difficult. Keep in shape, don't smoke, cut down on salt. With today's drugs, you may be able to get the medication you need combined in 1 pill a day. Do it for the people who depend on you. No matter who you are, no one has more responsibility for your health than you do.
Well, we go to the 9th inning. It's the last call for the Tampa Spartans as they trail by 3 runs. Eckerd leading 7-4, and Steve Malden leads off. That's a ball. It'll be Malden, Hart, and Rini Martinez. Ball and a strike. Last time out against Eckerd, Granches pitched a complete game 6-hitter. And looks like he's well on his way to a complete game here. He's allowed 7 hits and leading 7-4. Got around late on that one and fouled it off. A ball and 2 strikes.
He's a very impressive young pitcher, Frank. He's got a very nice delivery. Very fluid, comes right over the top with a nice motion, and that split finger forkball has been very impressive tonight.
Ground ball right side, scooped up by Kubiak, and he throws him out.
Makes the people over there who helped coach him at Lakewood High School in St. Petersburg very proud.
I'm sure of that. You know, you've talked about his split finger fastball. Isn't that an unusual pitch for a man in college or not? Or do they teach it that early now?
I haven't seen that many college pitchers this year throw that pitch, and I'm very surprised that he has that much command of it at such a young age. It's something that is easy to throw, but it takes a couple of years until you really can throw it in game situations.
Ricky Hart, the batter, he's gone 0 for 3 tonight, struck out twice and flied out. Eckerd leading 7-4, 1 out here in the 9th. That one got the plate umpire off the right foot.
Most of those pitches that you see going down into the dirt are those split fingers. If they come in like a fastball and they tumble and they just drop, even if it's only an inch or a half of an inch, that's why you see so many ground balls. There have been 13 ground balls now by Tampa.
Here it is again. See if this doesn't get the plate umpire right in the right foot. No, got him in the leg, I guess. Looked like got both the catcher and the umpire. There's another ground ball to second. And again, Kubiak makes the play over to Chris Carter. And there are 2 down. A lot of ground balls. The last 4 outs have been on ground balls.
That's 6 assists by the second baseman.
Wow. So the Spartans are down to their last out. And Rini Martinez, the shortstop, he's 0 for 3. Reached on a fielder's choice once, grounded out twice. So he's at really 3 ground balls. Ground ball to the left side of the shortstop. If McDonald throws him out, the ball game is over. And that's it. What a job done by Terry Granches. He's retired the last 5 men. And we'll be back to talk about him just a little bit more and give you the final totals and the recap. The final score here at Al Lang Stadium, the Eckerd Tritons 7, the Tampa Spartans 4. And we'll be right back on Sports Channel Florida.
Hollywood thrives on rumors, no matter who they hurt. The rumors about AIDS are hurting all of us. People are getting their information from the wrong sources and believing it. Right now, there's a rumor about donating blood. The fact of the matter is, you cannot get AIDS from giving blood. All the needles are sterile and disposable. So please, don't fall for rumors. Find out the facts.
Rumors are spreading faster than AIDS. For more information, write the American Red Cross.
Charles Bronson isn't happy.
Sure takes guts to vandalize parks or beat up on trees. But that's what some jerks are doing to our public lands. Only the land can't fight back. But we can. We can save our land, you and me. Let's face it, someone who gets his kicks punching out flowers shouldn't be too much of a match for us.
Write Take Pride in America. Post Office Box 1339, Jessup, Maryland, 20794.
Well, we'd like to remind you right now that as soon as we wrap up here at Al Lang Stadium, we will join Sports Channel Profile Dave Winfield, a program in progress. Right now, the totals on our ball game for the Tritons of Eckerd College, 7 runs, 11 hits, 3 errors, 8 men left on base. And for the Tampa Spartans, 4 runs, 7 hits, no errors, 6 men left on base. The winning pitcher, a complete game effort, Tony Granges. He did an outstanding job. The loss is taken by Paul Myrock, who will come back to pitch better in future ball games, we feel sure, for Tampa University. So that's the story from Al Lang Stadium. Our next Sunshine State Conference college baseball game will be Wednesday, April 13th at 2 o'clock in the afternoon when the engineers of the Florida Institute of Technology take on the Moccasins of Florida Southern. The executive producer for tonight's game has been Ron Ryan. Tonight's game has been produced by Holland Singer, directed by Greg Simonovich. Remote facilities provided by Telfax. Frank Messer saying so long for Chris Welch. Once again, the final score, Eckerd 7 and Tampa 4.